Welcome to this Taoist meditation session. The meditations I'm going to be presenting come from Taoism. You might be wondering why I'm talking about all sorts of things before doing the meditation. It is to give you a context and understanding why you're doing it so it can have a much better effect for you. Just sit straight, breathe, let your mind get quiet, go on to the meditation. Well, welcome back. And we need now to start getting your mind to start being able to feel what's happening inside your body more. Now, people have moods, and moods are really of two types. One mood is that it's basically in your head. It's just kind of the thoughts that run around your head, no matter what they are. And they can be very light or very severe. And the other type of mood that people get is that their whole body just feels a certain way. Okay? If your whole body is angry, then it's a very different thing than if your head is just angry over an idea. Because when it gets to be your whole body is angry, then like you're angry. Or that you feel fearful. It's one thing that you have thoughts of fear running around your head, and it's a whole nother thing when your body just feels scared. So, and this goes for pretty much every emotion there is. And it's not, you can't really run away from it because this is what people are going through their entire lives. You might not like the fact that you have this kind of mood or that kind of mood or this kind of mood, but the fact of the matter is that you're going to have them, and everybody's going to have them. And whether some moods make you feel very light and fluffy and happy and everything's all well with the world, we call that a happy mood. And then you can also have dark moods that can make you want to crawl under a desk and hope you never have to get out from under it. And these are constantly occurring in life. But when everybody is being locked up inside their house, being sequestered, being, staying inside their house so that we can get this coronavirus to flatten the curve of its growth. Because if people make contact with people, the virus gets spread faster. And if they don't make contact with people, then the virus starts not growing, and then as more and more people heal it out of their system, you could say it starts decreasing. In order to do this, in order to really start taking on the second one, which is your body having a mood, your body feeling a certain way. And it's from those body feelings that your head is going to start getting feelings. Your head is going to start, whatever is between your ears is going to start making a lot of noise. But it also is your body can do the same thing to you. Now, before we get into how do you get rid of these bad moods, how do you get rid of the things which are running around your head that are literally can drive you crazy, then we need to go deeper into the body. So we've now gone from the head to the chin to the heart. Now we're going to go from the heart to the belly, and the next time we're going to go from the belly down to the feet, because that's your whole body. And you can have very powerful body feelings generated from any part of your body. It isn't like it only happens between your ears. It also happens in your belly. I mean, you can talk about people who have heartache, and you can talk about, all sorts of ways that people's bellies get all sorts of things and really destabilize them. Or for that matter, it even can be discussed with a lot of people about how their legs and genitals start feeling weird, and that creates all sorts of both positive and negative moods depending upon the stimuli you're under. So recognizing this, we need now to have our mind make contact with our belly. Now, your lower dantian is about down here. It's about, give or take, about 2 inches underneath your belly button. And that's fine. And don't worry about if you get the exact place or not. just somewhere down here. Now, in the front of your body, that's relatively easy to feel. But keep in mind that also you have your kidneys in the back of your body. And as an internal organ, your kidneys are capable of naturally producing two things inside people. This is Chinese medicine has looked at this for thousands of years, and that opinion has been verified over and over again. One thing is that you could have your kidneys be affected. Okay? If you're a little bit higher up, it could be your liver. Okay? We only got down as far as the heart. Well, your liver can either make you very angry, or it can produce the mood of, I can do it. And whatever that happens to me that you have to do while you're sequestered, I can stay in this house without, going too crazy about what's happening. I can get the things done that can be done rather than just falling apart and sitting in a state of semi-paralysis or just watching your TV like a zombie. Because there's things that you can do during this time which will be useful for your life after this virus is over. You go a little bit further down and you have your kidneys. And your kidneys is a place that will, on the positive side, it is the source inside your body that creates your awareness, your perception, your ability to recognize things, your ability to just be aware of what's happening around you, which when you're sequestered inside your house, like people who are in prison for long periods of time, though they have pretty small rooms, one of the things that happens with a lot of people in prisons, and I've actually taught in them in my day, is that in order for people to withstand being locked up, they go numb. They progressively try and go more and more numb to as much as they can, in the hope that if they are numb to the normal things of life, then the horrible things that will come up in their mind, they'll be numb to that too. Okay? Well, you want to have that awareness, but you also want to realize that when you're going into fear, that your kidneys are going to get very activated. And if you can just be aware they're getting activated, you can say to yourself, well, I can take this and get more aware of what's happening around me, more aware of what's happening to my family members, more aware of what's happening to my girlfriend or boyfriend, more aware of what's happening inside my roommates, rather than just reacting to the negative things they can spew out, because that is one of the side effects of people being compressed and sequestered like rats in a cage. Okay? Now, we don't like to think about it. You may have a giant house, and in which case, you're not going to get that. But, there are also people who live in 500 square foot apartments. And, really, the walls can start closing in on you. And so to recognize that if you're having fear of that, or you can have that trigger being aware of things you should take care of, rather than going to paralysis and just kind of falling apart on the couch or wherever it is you're going to fall apart. You will also find that when the fear in your body decreases, you are more able to have better relationships with the people who are in that apartment with you. Or if you're in an apartment or a place by yourself, you're able to start getting better relationships with all the things that are happening inside your body and your mind. And because if you can recognize that, wow, my kidneys are feeling really weird today, and then you start noticing how you're getting fearful of all this stuff, well, that can be a great life lesson. Not only can you reduce the fear just by recognizing it, okay, but it also can be, well, maybe you can start getting aware of how you're creating more awareness. So whatever creative thing you're doing at home, or whatever it is you want to focus on, or whatever book you want to read, or whatever way that something comes on television or the internet that you want to actually understand it, your awareness can grow and you can do a better job at that, which will make the time that we're sequestered go by in a much more productive and less miserable way. So it's all these things, but for that, it's good if you actually can feel. So again, what we've done first is we started just being aware of our skin, and then we went a little bit in. We went into our head, we've gone into our chest, into our heart, and now we're going to go from our heart down to our belly. And we're going to try and go down in layers, because it's a big task to try and be aware of everything that's in here, front, back, inside at once. But it's not too bad if you just go down an inch at a time and become aware of what's here and what's here and what's there. And if you can actually be aware of how you're breathing. And I'm not talking about your chest. I mean, can you be aware of the fact that your diaphragm is actually moving? Because even smooth breath is going to make becoming calm and becoming centered during any time easier to do. And holding your breath and your breath stopping usually is masking something that's happening deeper inside you that can be disturbing or not happy. So if your diaphragm keeps moving, you keep on breathing, it makes it easier for you to have natural emotions that you would like to have. But yet when your breath freezes, it makes it harder to have natural emotions, and it makes it easier to have negative emotions. So just be aware of this. But you have to actually be able to feel what's happening inside your body to use these signals to positive, productive use. So now we first start, and we start at the top of the head, and we just start becoming aware of what we feel. We let our mind start penetrating our body. Try and go from the skin to below the skin to whatever you feel. And as deep in as you can go. Some people will be able to go rather deep into their brain. Some people will be able only to go to the first bit of gray matter. It doesn't matter. Once you start on the path of having some awareness, it's going to grow. So don't be afraid of anything you feel. Just look at it as though you're just watching a movie, or you're driving down the Midwest on these roads that just go on and on and on. And, as long as you stay awake and you don't go over the lines, it's just the next piece of grass, the next hill, the next whatever. And as long as you don't jump thinking that the next piece of grass means anything in particular, you just start experiencing something. And this, in time, will give you a clue to what's happening inside you. And if you just can watch it and you can relax, you will find that the downside of it will diminish it. Just as if you're getting manic about things, if you can recognize what you're getting manic about, what's happening inside you, the manic will go down a bit. I don't say it'll be completely over. That's actually what's going to come a little bit later in these meditations, how you resolve what's inside you. But just being able to recognize it means these things that are happening inside you don't have to set you off like a hair trigger in a gun. And now slowly start going down to your eyebrows, and then down to your nose, and the back of your head. So as you're going down, go down the front of your head, the side of your head, the back of your head, just like there was an anti-gravity machine and a pool of water were just slowly dropping. And you just take whatever's at that level the water hit. Which could only happen with an anti-gravity machine. You slowly Let the water out of the pool. And down to your nose. Down to the space between your nose and your mouth. Down the vertebrae of your neck and the side of your jaw and your chin. Down your neck on the front, back, and side. And again, we're just kind of reviewing what we did in the previous lessons and getting you ready to go to the next one. Then down to the bottom of your shoulders. Down your chest and your upper back, your arms, to the height of your heart. Down a little bit lower to your diaphragm. Your diaphragm goes all the way through your body, so from here, just drop from the height of your diaphragm. And see if your mind can go a little bit deeper inside your body than it went in your chest. So that the next time you do this, if you get the habit of going deeper inside your belly, you'll also be able to go deeper inside your chest and your lungs and your heart. And just recognize what's there. Whatever you feel, however you feel it. And even if you don't understand it, don't feel the need to, well, I want to know what this is. Just keep on going, because in time it'll be very obvious what a lot of things are, and some things won't be so obvious. And if at a height you go down your stomach, and if you feel some kind of emotion, that's good. Just be aware of what's inside your body. Now, in this modern time, we always thought before that the only kind of intelligence human people had was IQ, which was intellectual intelligence, mathematics and symbol recognition. And it turns out that, at least the last time I was teaching in Oxford, I was talking to some of these, people who are up on all the latest research and everything and do all the big experiments. And they've worked it out that now are at least 10 types of intelligence humans have. I mean, it really was a big shocker a couple of decades ago when we found out that emotional intelligence was just as important as intellectual intelligence, since the whole educational systems have been based upon intellectual intelligence. But there was emotional intelligence, spatial intelligence, the intelligence we have regarding navigating relationships. All these are types of intelligence, and all these types of intelligence create feelings inside you. Even thinking, intellectual thinking requires a certain amount of emotional intelligence to actually fully catalyze the brain. I mean, Isaac Newton, back in the 1700s, that famous scientist, who was one of the biggies in the world of Western science, he used to sometimes go into these research fits to where he went at it so hard that he would have mental breakdowns. And he would have to literally rest for a few months and heal before he could try and do anything else again. Where if he could have recognized what his emotions were doing inside him, which he didn't, he just became one big thinking brain, then he might have tried to adjust the inside of himself so he was a bit more reasonable. But he didn't, so he kept on cracking up, and he'd get put away in some sort of asylum, and then he'd get, something that was close to normal, and he'd go right back and do it again. And okay, it's fine. He came up with great scientific discoveries, no doubt. But as a human being, he wasn't a happy camper. And right now, being locked inside your house, you want to be a more happy camper than a more miserable camper. And that's what we're after. And you want to use this time to penetrate into the things that are deeper inside you that will still affect you not only during the virus time, but for the rest of your life. So now keep on going down and just recognizing what you experience. Don't figure out what you think it means. Just keep on inhaling and exhaling and become more aware of what you find inside your body. And then go further down to your ribs. And then down to your midriff. That soft thing between your hips and your ribs. And then further down to a little bit above your pubic hair, where you have a particularly important energy spot in your body called the lower dantian. And then if you can, do it again from the top of your head to the bottom, where your lower dantian is. And when you've done that once or twice, try to keep your back straight if you can. One thing about when you start going inside your body is that it's very easy to start falling asleep. It's also very easy to go into a state where you're half awake and half asleep. But really, you want to be fully awake if you can. And then when you get down maybe the second time, see if you just can be aware of everything that's in your body, from the top of your head to the tips of your fingers, to your lower dantian, both in the front and in the side and the back of your body. Got a lot of vertebrae in the back of your body. You can be aware of them. And somehow when you've done all this, you'll begin to get a sense of what the mood of your entire body is. And that's good. And if you just recognize it, that's a good thing. Not when you want to yell or throw a fit or, get crazy or get nasty. You can recognize that's this thing trying to come out. And just recognizing that, maybe you can go, wait a second, maybe I shouldn't get nasty. Maybe I can try and be neutral or even get nice. Maybe I cannot, whatever this mood inside me, which is making me feel terrible, don't project it onto the person next to me so they can feel terrible. Because a lot of people, there is the phrase, misery enjoys company. That's one of the things people do, is that when they feel lousy, they try and make the people around them feel lousy. This is a very common thing people do. But when you're locked up inside a small place, it may not be such a good thing to do. And that's why in prisons, they have to, at times, move people from one cell to another, because the interactions between two of them could end up in murder. But if they just separate them, it's not a problem. with this virus, you can't be separated. So somehow, you just have to get a way to just recognize that the mood you're having is your mood. It may not have anything to do with the other person, or it may have something to do with the other person. But even if it is something to do with the other person, it's still your mood. And you have the ability to control when you go to the bathroom or when you take out a tissue to sneeze into it as opposed to just doing it right on the floor. You have some abilities to control and say, well, you know, I want to do this. Everything inside me is driving me to do this, but I could actually do that. So I could go from nasty to being nice. And if you're alone, you could go from feeling nasty about yourself inside to, wait, why don't we just push this and see if I can start feeling nice about myself inside? But first you have to be able to recognize what's happening inside of you. Now this is as far as we're going to go for today. And the next time we're going to go inside our body from our belly down to our feet. And just realize that when you're around people, yeah, especially if you're small rooms or something, because it's nice to have the 2,000 to 4,000 square foot house of the American dream, but you know, especially in big towns, lots of people are happy if they even can afford a 500 square foot apartment. So you could be in a small space or you could be in a big space, but you know something? The mood you're having inside your body isn't actually going to be affected that much by the space you're in. It may just be affected by how much you want to throw whatever that mood is on other people. I had a phrase in the 1960s. In all these, you know, meditation people had it. People doing all the new psychotherapies had it. And the phrase was, don't throw your garbage on other people. And they were talking about your moods. They're talking about what's happening inside you. And if you just can recognize that you have it, you can recognize when you want to throw it on somebody, and you can also just as easy make a decision not to. But if you don't recognize it, it's all happening subliminally. It's all happening kind of below the range of your conscious analysis. And you do it almost, you know, as a reflex. You don't want that. You want to make the people who you're sequestered with, if not happy, which is the ideal, at least make them not miserable. And you have to just recognize that you have the ability to do this. And that be kind to your brothers and sisters, as the word goes. And that's a good thing to do. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you found this helpful. If you like this, go ahead and click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.